Hampshire Motor Speedway as we get ready for NASCAR Sprint Cup Series qualifying from the Magic Mile. Big story today and this weekend. Dale Earnhardt Jr. with concussion-like symptoms will not be behind the wheel of the 88 for the entire weekend. He will have a substitute driver that will fill in for him this weekend. In a statement, he mentioned that he felt like it happened at Michigan and Daytona. He was involved in accidents at both tracks. This was Michigan back in June, just over a month ago. Got into the wall. Riding along, it sounds like a hard hit. When he got out of the car, maybe a little bit unsure. But then Daytona, just 2 weeks ago, involved in an accident. Once again, this was Dale Earnhardt Jr. that had mentioned he believes that the Michigan and Daytona accidents may have given him concussion-like symptoms where he wasn't feeling well. The history of concussions with Dale Earnhardt Jr. goes all the way back to 2002. Fontana, April. He was in a big accident, continued to race until September. Then in 2012, he missed 2 races after sustaining 2 concussions in a span of 6 weeks. And then, of course, this weekend he will miss Sunday's race at New Hampshire because of the concussion-like symptoms. And because of that, that means that he will have a substitute driver. This week it will be Alex Bowman. Alex Bowman is from Junior Motorsports. He runs in the Xfinity Series. If Dale Jr. is not able to come back next week at Indianapolis, they have already announced that Jeff Gordon will come out of retirement and he will run the 88 car in Indianapolis. Hendrick Motorsports had a press conference earlier today. The executive vice president and GM of Hendrick Motorsports, Doug Ducart, addressed the media.
At Kentucky, Dale started talking to Greg that he wasn't really feeling right, and I think as Dale pointed out in the statement, he felt like he had cold or flu or some sinus infection that was causing him to not feel well. On Tuesday, he notified Greg and I Tuesday morning before our competition meeting that he still wasn't feeling real well. He had gone to the doctor to try to understand what he had going on. Again, he thought he had some sort of sinus infection. And at that point, he told Greg and I to be thinking about potential backup plans. Dale then went and saw a team of neurologists, and in the past 2 days have been going through some tests. And yesterday around noon is when I found out that Dale could not be in the car for this weekend based on their suggestion. And of course, as Rick said, we 100% support that, and as Dave said, we're proud of him making that decision. The most important thing in this whole process is for Dale to get better and feel better, and we're going to let that happen on the timeline that it's going to happen on. And so basically less than 24 hours ago is when we found out that Dale couldn't run. We had Alex lined up to be in the car. It made perfect sense, and I have confidence in he and Greg will do a good job this weekend.
I think I can really thank Dale Jr. for saving my career 2 years ago, pretty much, with those 2 Xfinity races at Charlotte and Phoenix, and then for the opportunity to run 9 races this year with him. Obviously, we've been knocking on the door to get some wins, and it's been a lot of fun. So he's been a good friend to me. He's been somebody that I can lean on all the time. Obviously, I hate to see him not feeling well. I mean, that was my first thought. But he's done a lot for my career, and I couldn't be any more thankful than I am. I owe him a lot. So it's just been an honor to get the phone call to fill in for him.
If Dale is not able to go in Indianapolis, we will put Jeff Gordon in the car.
For sure? Yes.
That's for sure.
Okay.
If Dale's not ready. I mean, obviously, we want Dale to get, when Dale is ready, it's his car to get back into. But if Dale can't go next week, Jeff Gordon will be the driver at Indianapolis.
And a lot of information there to dissect and go through alongside Jeff Burton, Steve Letarte, and Nate Ryan. I want to start with you first, Jeff. I mean, safety obviously is first and foremost with drivers, NASCAR, everyone. But this is a huge announcement for NASCAR today.
Oh, no question. You take the sport's most popular driver, and pretty much he took himself out of the car. I know the doctor made the decision, but when he said, "Hey, I'm not feeling well," and went to the doctor, he knew what he was exposing himself to. No one else knew he was feeling badly. He's the only one who knew that. So he decided, "Hey, I need to get this checked out. Whatever it is, it is." And he had the courage to do that, and it's a pretty brave move.
Yeah, I mean, this is something, unfortunately, for Dale. We've seen his career. This all the way back in 2002, a heavy shot at Fontana. Had a concussion there. Didn't tell the world maybe until later in that season, but he's had some hard impacts. But when I heard the news, first thing I thought it was my friend, Dale Earnhardt Jr., the race car driver. His health became, first and foremost of my concern. And I think to add what Jeff said, I think, everyone is proud of the move Dale Jr. is making because we've seen this time and time again, some heavy impacts. For Dale to go to the doctor and then to admit, hey, you know what, I don't need to be in a race car this weekend, I think it's setting a great precedent, not just for NASCAR, but for sports in general. There's a lot of young men and women all over the country that compete in sports, might not just be racing, soccer, basketball, whatever it is. And Dale Jr. raising his hand to say, you know what, I know I can't be in that race car, maybe we'll give someone else the confidence to speak up.
Yeah, as you mentioned, the most popular driver in the sport making this decision to go get checked out because right now in sports, concussions are one of the biggest things that are going on. And Nate, as far as NASCAR's protocol, when it comes to concussions, they've got things in place for these drivers.
They do, Rick. And what's unusual here is that NASCAR concussion protocol usually begins at the track. It usually starts with the driver being in a crash, going to the care center, seeing an emergency room physician who recommends, after diagnosing a head injury, that the driver should go to the hospital where they undergo a CT scan. And then after that, they have to get approval from a neurosurgeon or neurologist with 5 years of experience, board certified, in order to be approved to get back in the car. In the case of Dale Jr., those wrecks at Daytona and Michigan, he didn't go to the care center because he drove away from the crash. A care center visit isn't mandatory in those instances. So as Jeff and Steve just said, Dale Jr. got out of the car because his doctors advised him to. And when he made that decision and told NASCAR, hey, I'm experiencing concussion symptoms, my team of neurologists that Doug Ducart referred to have told me don't race this weekend, then he entered concussion protocol in that way. And NASCAR hasn't had a chance to meet with Dale Jr., but they will. They'll meet with him and his doctors. And then it will be incumbent upon Dale Jr. to get approval from a neurologist, neurosurgeon in order to get back in the race car.
Biggest news of the weekend coming out yesterday. Dale Earnhardt Jr. will not race at Loudon, New Hampshire this weekend. Alex Bowman will substitute for the 88 team, qualifying when we come back.